Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where we talk about books and beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee. The co-host is out right now, although if she hears me through the door, she may end up wanting to come in and be a part of the video, so we'll have to see. Today, I'm going to review my book of the month from December of 2024. If you recall from some of my other videos, this book was not delivered to me on time, and I actually only received it about 2 or 3 weeks ago, despite having ordered it in early December. So the book is called Beautiful Ugly, and it is by Alice Feeney. This was an early release with Book of the Month, but of course, since I received it late, it's kind of just a new release now. It was published on January 14th of 2025. Genres for the book are mystery, thriller, and suspense. But I would almost be tempted to add supernatural and horror to that list. It's kind of a borderline horror for me, if you will. Not the graphic type, but more just kind of the creepy kind. And it's definitely a haunting story. And even now that I've finished it, I'm still really not quite sure what to think. So let's talk about it. Now, first, as I said, it is by Alice Feeney. Now, she's a British author, and this is her 7th novel. They're all standalone novels, and she's done the 7 in about as many years. I believe the first one was published in 2017. Other titles of hers that maybe you might have heard of or be aware of are Rock, Paper, Scissors, and Sometimes I Lie. I have seen people do some reviews of those on BookTube. So let's talk a little bit about the plot of Beautiful Ugly. Oops, or I could hit myself in the face with it. Of the plot of this book, Beautiful Ugly. There are some probably very, very, very slight spoilers here. I want to give you enough info to help you decide if this is something you might want to read. So here we go. You've been warned. We start out with a couple. The husband is named Grady, and he's an author. And when we meet him at the beginning of the book, he is expecting a call from his agent saying that his most recent book made the bestseller list. His wife, Abby, is an investigative journalist, and she's expected home any minute to help Grady to celebrate his accomplishment. The agent calls, and the naval. Where am I going? The novel indeed is a bestseller. So Grady, in turn, calls his wife on her cell phone, and she's driving home from work at the time. After he tells her the news, she tells him that she sees someone in the road, a woman not moving, just lying in the road, and she's going to stop and try to help her. He begs his wife not to do that, and when she insists, he tells her that he wants to stay on the phone with her. She leaves the phone in the car. While she gets out, Grady can hear the door open and the sound of her footsteps retreating from the vehicle, and then he hears nothing else. His wife never returns to the phone and, in fact, has disappeared. Now, the story picks up again a year later when Grady is still grieving her loss. He's wondering what's happened to her, and he's really struggling to write again. He's also becoming financially kind of destitute in a way because he hasn't had anything published. So his agent offers him an opportunity to go to an island. It's called the Isle of Amberley and is off the coast of Scotland. She offers him the chance to stay in an old writer's cabin in the woods where hopefully he can find the peace that he needs to start to write again and to become successful again. Now, the island is kind of like a world unto itself. We even get a map of the island in the front of the book, which is interesting, just to kind of show you how it's its own world. So there's the map there. It's actually kind of helpful because even though it's a small island, it is very diverse in its geography. And we can see here that it has a lot of rugged coastline. It has some mountains. There's the coastline there. Mountains. It has a cave down here. And it has various rock formations and things like that. It has a small village in the center where people can get their supplies on the island. Now, the people on the island who live there are very odd. It's obvious that they take care of each other and that they're close to each other in a lot of ways, but they don't like visitors, for one thing. And soon some very strange things start happening to Grady. It's like he's being haunted by his wife, kind of, or at least someone who knows something about her disappearance. And now also, did I mention, there's no cell phone, internet service, nor is there any reliable way off the island. Every time Grady asks about the ferry returning to the mainland, he is told that there's no schedule and it all depends upon the weather. So just kind of relax and plan for an extended stay. Now, during this time in the novel, we get some flashbacks from now Abby's perspective. Now, these flashbacks go back to before she disappeared. We get some chapters that talk about her experiences in her therapy sessions. So we find out that she's been speaking with a counselor. And those occurred shortly before her disappearance. Now, like any couple, or really basically any two people, perspectives can differ. And not everything is good and not everything is bad, especially with regard to the couple's marriage and relationship. So this opposition, or like opposing viewpoints, whatever you want to call it, is part of the tension in the novel itself. Now, starting with the name Beautiful Ugly, two words that mean the opposite. And now it took me a little bit, but I did realize that every chapter here is titled with two opposing words. For instance, Upward Fall. Running Scared. Found Missing. And there was one that I had never thought of before that I thought was really interesting, and that is called Only Option. Because I had never thought about it before, but when you think about it, if something is your only option, it's really not an option at all, is it? It's really just your course of action. So, let's see, where was I? Sorry, I lost my place during that. Okay, so the two opposing words. So, now, that's the book. That's what I'm going to tell you about the plot so far. I think I've revealed a little bit, probably enough that you can decide if it's something you'd be interested in, but not enough to give away what goes on in the story. A lot goes on here. Now, how do I feel about this book and how would I rate it? Well, let's start out with this. Alice Feeney is known for her plot twists and surprises. Now, the book certainly has a lot of those. Some are just the little hint or kind of like cliffhanger that you get at the end of a chapter. In a lot of thrillers, that happens. Some turn out to be, nothing or almost nothing, and then others are central to advancing the plot of the story. So if you do read the book, be prepared for that because, some people like that. Not everyone cares for it, though. I happen to like it. I think it's part of the thrill in a thriller. And so that part of the book was fine for me. Now, the story, as I mentioned, is also told from different perspectives. So not everyone likes that. So again, you can't say that nobody warned you. But that part was also fine with me. I like that as long as it's done well. Another aspect is that I found out that I had to almost suspend my idea of reality with this, much as you would when reading horror or a book with supernatural elements in it. And that's why I say it's like an almost horror novel to me. It's definitely creepy, and I do like that. Now, I really like the creation of a whole new world with the island and the suspicious characters that live there. I'm glad we got the map and the descriptions of the island. I thought that really helped me to set the scene in my mind. I read through the first half of the book in one day. It captivated me enough that I felt like I just couldn't put it down. Then it started to drag a little bit in the middle, I have to say that. Kind of catching up everything then in the final few chapters, which started to, provide some more excitement with the story again. It is a good story. I think it could have been told in maybe a slightly different way to make it a little more cohesive and believable. This is my feeling and my opinion now, but it is kind of echoed in the reviews that I read on Goodreads and Amazon. Some people loved it and they gave it 5 stars. And then other people gave it as low as 2 stars. I mean, that's not unusual, but it seems like there was extremes with this book. Myself, I'm going to go right down the middle here, and I'm going to give it 3.75 stars, and I'll tell you why. It's between a 3.5 and a 4 for me. I couldn't justify a 4, but since I did enjoy it, I felt it could be a little higher than 3.5. It was a fast-paced novel for the most part, at least. It was creative. It had quirky, creepy characters. I think some of them could have been maybe developed a little bit more, and it could have added to the story, maybe. There are some other things that maybe didn't, in my mind, necessarily really need to be there, or could have maybe been done a little differently to feel, once again, as I say, a little more cohesive. But, that's just my opinion. Overall, I would recommend it to people who like thrillers. Maybe just be aware of some of the factors that I mentioned. And if there are things that you don't think will bother you too much, well, then it could be an entertaining read for you, maybe for a rainy weekend or something like that. Or if you ever find yourself on an island with no phone service or internet and an uncertain schedule and not knowing when or if you're ever going to be able to leave. So just one more thing. I don't think I've read here the best of Alice Feeney. I would definitely give her other novels a shot. I'm saying that based on the fact that I did enjoy this book, and some of the other books of hers are more highly rated and, in fact, have been recommended to me by viewers at times. So even though I had some criticisms of this novel, I would be willing to try another and just see how I feel after that. So that's my December Book of the Month review, finally. And now we're all caught up. The January Book of the Month was Isaac's Song by Daniel Black, and I'll put a link to that in the review. That's another new release that just came out in mid-January as well. So as always, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. And please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you like my content, please comment below. Have you ever read Alice Feeney, and what do you think about her novels? I'd love to hear from you. So thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.